heard my name, but nobody was close enough to say it. I slowed down without meaning to. Not stopped, just eased off the gas. The sound came again, softer this time. Like it wasn't sure I'd heard it the first time. At the time, I told myself. It was the radio. Static does strange things when you're tired. Voices blur into patterns your brain wants to recognize. Still, my hands stayed tight on the wheel. I was driving through my hometown because it was faster. That's what I told myself. The highway would have added 20 minutes, and it was already getting late. There's one road everyone avoids now. Not officially closed, not blocked, just unused. I hadn't driven it in years. The sign was still there, depained. The town name barely readable. I remember noticing how someone had scrubbed the distance number off completely. That should have mattered more to me. As soon as my tires crossed onto that road, the radio cut out. Not static. Silence. I reached for the volume knob out of habit. Nothing changed. That's when I realized my phone had stopped playing directions too. The screen was still on. The map still visible. The voice was just gone. I didn't pull over. I didn't turn around. Don't know why. The road felt narrower than I remembered. Trees leaned in from both sides, branches brushing each other overhead like they were closing something behind me. That's when I heard it again. My name. This time, it wasn't from the speakers. It came from the passenger side. I froze, not jumped, not panicked, just locked. My foot hovered over the brake, but I didn't press it. My breath caught halfway in, like my body forgot how to finish it. "Hello?" said it quietly. Too quietly, the word didn't feel like it left my mouth properly. Nothing answered. I told myself it was my own voice echoing inside my head. That happens when you drive long enough. Your thoughts get loud. I laughed once, sharp and quick, like I was trying to scare something away. That laugh sounded wrong too. A mile marker passed on my right. The numbers were scratched out, deep, like someone didn't want them seen again at the time. That didn't scare me. What scared me was realizing I hadn't seen another car since turning onto the road. No headlights, no taillights, a sound of engines in the distance, just my own tires humming too evenly. I checked my mirrors. The road behind me looked shorter, not closer, shorter, like it ended sooner than it should have. I told myself it was the curve. Roads bend, your eyes lie. Then I saw the first house. It wasn't abandoned. That was the unsettling part. Lights were on. Its warm yellow glow through the windows. It's a porch light, swinging slightly, like it had been brushed by someone passing by. But the driveway was empty. No car, no bike, no footprints in the dirt. I slowed again without realizing it as I passed. Every light in the house turned off at once, not flickering, not one by one, all of them. My throat went dry. I pressed the gas harder than I meant to. Another house came into view. Then another dot. Same thing. Lights on, then off. Always as I reached the front door. I stopped looking at the houses after the fourth one. Kept my eyes locked straight ahead. Like if I didn't acknowledge them, they couldn't acknowledge me back. That's when I noticed the road signs. They were wrong. Not pointing the wrong way. Not misspelled. Just outdated. Business names I remembered from childhood. Places that had closed before I even graduated. The grocery store my mom cried over when it shut down. The school gym that burned down one winter night. All listed like they were still open, like nothing had changed. I swallowed hard and reached for my phone. No signal, not even the bar's disappearing animation. Just empty dot. The screen felt colder than it should have. I told myself to turn around at the next intersection. I needed that promise. Something concrete. The intersection never came. The road stayed straight longer than it should have. Then the fog rolled in. Not thick, not dramatic, just enough to soften the edges of things. I caught movement on the sidewalk to my right. I didn't look. I see OULD in single quotes. My body leaned forward slightly. That would help me see better without actually seeing. The movement kept pace with my car. That's when I realized I wasn't hearing footsteps. I was hearing breathing, slow, measured, matching mine. I pressed my lips together and focused on the center line of the road. It wasn't yellow anymore. It was white dot, fresh, like it had been repainted. Recently, I knew it hadn't. Everyone knew no one worked out here anymore. The town didn't even include this area on maintenance maps. The breathing stopped. The silence that followed felt heavier than sound. Then something tapped the passenger window, once soft, like a knuckle testing glass. I flinched hard enough that my knee knocked the steering column. The car swerved slightly, then corrected itself. Hadn't turned the wheel. The tapping came again. 2 taps this time. I whispered, "Stop." I don't know who I was talking to. The window didn't shatter. It didn't crack. It lowered just an inch. The controls on my door hadn't moved. Cold air slid inside. With it came a smell I hadn't thought about in years. Wet pavement, old leaves, and something else, like dust that had been trapped indoors too long. A voice leaned in close to the opening, not loud. "Careful, you missed the turn." My hand started shaking then, not violently, just enough that I noticed. "I'm not stopping," I said. The voice didn't respond right away. Then, softer, "You already did." The road ahead ended, not gradually, not with warning signs. It just stopped, pavement giving way to dirt and weeds. Like construction had paused mid-thought and never resumed. I slammed the brakes. The car lurched, then stalled. The engine died. The breathing returned. Closer. Now, right outside my door. I stared straight ahead. Didn't reach for the handle. Didn't unlock anything. "I can turn around," I said. My voice sounded thin. "No," the voice replied. "You always say that part." Something brushed the side of the car. Not scratching, pressing like a body leaning its weight carefully. I thought about the houses, the lights, the signs. I thought about how nobody ever talked about this road. Not in warnings. Not in stories. Just silence. A shape appeared in my peripheral vision. Human, dash-shaped, standing where the road should have continued. I didn't look directly at it. I couldn't. At the time, that didn't scare me as much as what it said next. "You used to walk here." Stomach dropped. "I don't." I started. "You did," it said. "After school, before the buses stopped running." I remembered then, cutting through this part of town because it was faster, because nobody was around, because it felt like a shortcut the world had. It's forgotten. The shape took a step closer. The fog parted around it. I saw my jacket, the old one. It's the one I lost when I was 16. I remembered running, laughing, thinking the empty streets were funny. The shape tilted its head. Everyone else turned around. It said, "You kept coming." My door handle clicked once I finally screamed. Not loud, not dramatic, just a sound forced out of me, sharp and broken. The engine turned over on its own. The car jerked backward. I didn't question it. I hit the gas and felt. The tires grabbed the road was behind me again. Long, straight, empty. I didn't stop until I hit the highway. Didn't check my mirrors. Didn't slow down. When I finally pulled over, my phone buzzed. One missed notification. No sender. Just text. "You still know the way." I don't drive through my hometown anymore. People ask why I avoid the back roads. I tell them it's faster not to, but sometimes, late at night, when it's quiet, I hear my name, and I wonder how many times I turned around before I remembered the one time I didn't. The swing moved, even though there was no wind. I noticed it before my brain caught up. That slow creak, metal on metal. A sound that only happens when someone is there. I stopped walking, didn't turn around, didn't step closer. I just stood on the cracked sidewalk, grocery bag cutting into my fingers. Listening, the swing moved again. At the time, I told myself it was nothing. Old equipment shifts, rust settles. Still, I held my breath. I hadn't been back in this part of town since I was a kid. Okay, there was no reason to be here now, except the shortcut. Everyone used it before the detour signs went up. The playground sat behind the old elementary school. The school had been closed for years, windows boarded, doors chained, but the playground was still there. That always felt strange. Most places get torn down, bulldozed, erased. This one just stayed. I took a step forward. The swing slowed, like it noticed me. I laughed quietly under my breath, more out of habit than humor. "Get it together," I muttered. My voice sounded too loud. The fence gate was open. That mattered more than it should have. I remembered it being locked, always locked. Teachers used to yell at us for even touching it after hours. I stood there longer than necessary, staring at the opening. Paint peeled. Its chain link bent inward slightly, like it had been pulled on recently. At the time, it didn't scare me. What scared me was how familiar it felt. I stepped inside. The ground crunched under my shoes, gravel shifting unevenly. The air smelled like wet leaves and old plastic. The swing finally stopped moving. I felt a weird rush of relief, like I'd passed some kind of test. That's when I heard the footsteps. Not running, not hiding, just walking, slow, dragging slightly. They came from behind the slide. I rose. My shoulders tensed so hard they started to ache. "Hello?" I called. The word felt wrong as soon as I said it. The footsteps stopped. Silence pressed in, thick and heavy. Then I noticed the other swings. They were moving to dot, all of them not in sync. Not evenly, like different weights were sitting in each one. My mouth went dry. I backed up a step. Gravel shifted immediately. Every swing stopped. I didn't move again. My heart hammered so loud I was sure it could be heard. "I'm just passing through," I said. I don't know who I was trying to convince. Something creaked behind me. Not metal, wood. The seesaw, one side, slowly lowered. The other rose, like someone had climbed off. Swallowed hard and forced myself to turn. There was no one there, but the imprint was dust pressed down where a body should have been. Small, tot child, dash-sized, I felt cold creep up my arms. I told myself, kids sneak into places like this all the time. Someone could be hiding, messing with me. That explanation didn't last long, because the laughter started, not loud, not playful, just a breathy exhale that tried to sound like a giggle. It came from under the jungle. "Jim," my stomach twisted. "Who's there?" I asked. My voice shook despite my effort to steady it. The laughter stopped. A pause, then a voice answered. "You came back?" It was young. "It's too young." I took another step back. "I don't know you," I said. The voice didn't respond right away. Then, softer, "You promised." That hit me harder than anything else. "I didn't," I said quickly. "Would remember." "You said it didn't matter," the voice replied. "That we could stay?" My chest felt tight. Memory surfaced uninvited, hiding under the slide when it rained, skipping class, sitting here after school because there was nowhere else to go. We used to joke that this place was ours, that no one cared about it anymore. At the time, that felt harmless. The footsteps returned, closer now. I could hear the gravel shift. I stayed still. "Hey." Shape emerged from the shadows. Not fully, just an outline, short, thin, standing where the light didn't quite reach. "Why are you here?" I asked. The shape tilted its head. "You left," it said. "You weren't supposed to." I felt something brush my leg. Light. Testing. I jerked away. The shape took a step forward. I saw the face then. Not damaged, not bloody, just unfinished, like a memory that never fully formed. "You said we'd meet here," it whispered. My throat burned. "I was a kid," I said. I didn't know what I was saying. The swings started moving again, faster this time. Chains rattling softly. The jungle gym groaned under invisible weight. The shape moved closer. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my legs wouldn't move. Everyone else stopped coming. It said, "But you remember the way." That sentence felt practiced, like it had been waiting to say it. I shook my head. "I don't belong here anymore." The shape paused. The playground went quiet. Then it smiled. "I know," it said. "Why, it hurts." Something grabbed my wrist, cold, too small. I gasped and yanked back. The grocery bag ripped, cans spilling onto the ground, rolling away in different directions. The noise broke whatever spell I was under. I ran, didn't look back, didn't stop until I hit the main road. Cars passed. Headlights flashed. Normal sounds, normal world. I bent over, hands on my knees, sucking in air when I finally looked at my wrist. There were fingerprints, small, fading fast. I didn't tell anyone. I moved away a few months later. Different city, different routines. But sometimes, when I take shortcuts through parks at night, I hear swings, moving when they shouldn't. And remember how easy it was to say something didn't matter, when you didn't know it was listening. I knew something was wrong when the stop sign looked newer than everything around it. That realization hit before I slowed down, before my foot even touched the brake. Just a quiet, uncomfortable thought that didn't belong. The road was empty. No houses, no lights, no reason for a stop sign to still be standing there. I stopped anyway. The car idled beneath me, engine humming low, like it was waiting for permission to move again. I stared at the sign. Red paint, clean edges, no rust. Everything else around it was dead at the time. I told myself the town must still maintain it. Some paperwork thing, some forgotten responsibility. That explanation lasted about 3 seconds, because the moment I fully stopped, the radio cut out, not static, not silence, just gone. The screen stayed lit, frozen on the last song title. But the sound dropped so suddenly my ears rang. I didn't touch anything, didn't reach for the dial. I waited, my breath slowed without me, realizing it. Then I heard the knock, one tap on the passenger side window. I flinched so hard my knee hit the steering column. I turned my head. Nothing there. The window reflected my own face back at me, pale and tense, eyes too wide. I laughed once. Sharp, nervous. "Get it together," I said. My voice sounded thin inside the car. I looked back at the road. The stop sign was closer, not by much, just enough that I noticed. I frowned. The car hadn't rolled. My foot was still on the brake. I checked the mirrors. Nothing behind me. Nothing moving. The sign stayed where it was at the time. That didn't scare me. What scared me was how easily my brain tried to explain it away. Perspective shift, depth, illusion, fatigue. I'd been driving for hours, cutting through back roads to save time. Places where cell service dropped and GPS lagged. Places no one talked about anymore. I eased my foot off the brake. The car rolled forward. The moment I crossed the white line, the radio turned back on. Same song, same spot, like nothing had happened. I exhaled slowly and kept driving. The road curved ahead, narrow and cracked, trees closing in on both sides. Branches leaned toward each other overhead, forming a loose tunnel. That's when I saw the houses, not abandoned, just still. Porches intact, windows unbroken, curtains hanging, lights off. No cars in the driveways, no mailboxes, no signs of life, no signs of decay either. The town sign came next. Painted wood, white letters. I recognized the name immediately. My stomach tightened. This was the town my mom used to talk about. The one she left before she turned 18. The one she never went back to. I'd asked her why once. She'd said, "There's nothing there anymore." The road dipped, then rose, and suddenly I was driving straight through the middle of it. The streets were too wide for how small the place was. Storefronts lined up neatly, signs still hanging, but faded, like they hadn't been updated in decades. I slowed down without thinking. I didn't see a single person. Still, the feeling of being watched crept in slowly, like fog. I passed a diner. Lights off. Chairs stacked inside. A flicker in the window caught my eye. Movement. I hit the brakes. The car stopped in front of the intersection, and there it was again. Another stop sign. Same condition. Same clean red paint. I looked around. No cross traffic. No intersecting roads that made sense. Just empty streets stretching into darkness. The knock came again. This time on my driver's side window. 2 taps, slower, more deliberate. I turned my head. There was a man standing inches from the glass. I gasped and jerked back instinctively. He didn't react, didn't blink, didn't move closer. He just stood there, staring at me, middle-aged, plain clothes, face tired, in a way that felt old, not exhausted. I cracked the window an inch without thinking. "What?" I asked. My voice shook. "You ran the sign," he said calmly. I glanced back. "I stopped," I said. "I stopped back there." He shook his head slowly. "Not the first one," he replied. Cold crept up my spine. "There was only one," I said. His eyes flicked past me, toward the road behind. "There are always 2, he said. I swallowed. "I didn't see anyone else?" I said. "No cars, no people." He nodded. "That's how it is now." I waited for him to explain. He didn't. "Can I help you?" I asked. He leaned down slightly, peering into the car. "Where are you headed?" he asked. I hesitated. I didn't know why. "I'm just passing through," I said finally. Something changed in his expression. Not anger, not fear, disappointment. Double quotes. "No one just passes through," he said. Behind him, a light flicked on in the diner. Just one, warm, dim. My heart started pounding. "I need to go," I said. He straightened. "You already did," he replied. He stepped back. The knock came again. Not from outside, from the back seat. One soft tap. I froze. Didn't turn. Didn't breathe. The man by the window watched me carefully. "You hear it?" "2," he said. I shook my head slowly. "No," I lied. The tap came again. Closer this time, like fingers brushing fabric. The man sighed. "Look," he said gently. "If you don't stop all the way, it follows you." My mouth went dry. "What does?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he pointed toward the stop sign. "You missed it," he said. "Now it thinks you're staying." The light in the diner brightened. Another storefront flickered on, then another. The town woke up in pieces. I saw silhouettes behind curtains. Figures standing just out of view, watching. The tapping in the back seat turned into pressure. Weight settling into the cushion. I felt the car dip slightly. "I didn't mean to," I whispered. The man nodded. "None of us do." The pressure leaned closer. I felt breath near my ear. Not hot, not cold, just present. I slammed my foot on the gas. The car lurched forward, tires squealing. The man disappeared from view as I sped through the intersection. The radio screamed to life. With static this time, voices layered over each other. Fragments, double quotes. "Stop. Too late. Missed it." I didn't slow down, didn't look back. The road blurred as trees closed in again. The pressure in the back seat lifted. The static faded. Silence returned. Eventually, the road straightened, streetlights appeared to sell. Service bars flickered back on. I pulled over and sat there, shaking, when I finally dared to look in the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty. No indentations. No signs anyone had been there. I drove the rest of the way home without stopping. Didn't sleep that night. Weeks passed, then months. I almost convinced myself it had been stress, hallucination, fatigue, until I visited my mom. We were sitting at the kitchen table when I brought it up casually. That town, that road, the stop sign. Her hand froze around her mug. She didn't look at me. They finally put it back. She asked quietly. My stomach dropped. Put what back? I said. She swallowed. The second sign, she replied. The one people stopped noticing. I stared at her. What happens if you miss it? Asked. She met my eyes. Her face drained of color. They don't let you leave, she said. I don't take shortcuts anymore. I stop completely at every sign. Every time. Because sometimes, late at night, when I slow down at an empty intersection, swear I see a town that isn't on any map, waiting to see if I remember to stop.